This is the car, this is the track, and this is Kato caught slipping with the mustard, baby. If you haven't seen this video, I'm sorry, but we're gonna watch it.
Shit, get the fuck up. Get the fuck up, bro. Fuck, bro. I'm gonna beat that bitch ass.
He's got so
get the fuck out of me, look like
so much mustard.
little ugly bitch.
The whole video is a lot longer. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but you should go check it out. I'll put the link in the description to the video. Shout out to Bone Sauce Archive, who's the guy who posted that. Anyway, we are doing Rallycross today at Daytona Rallycross track, and I'm going to walk you guys through the track a little bit here. This is my qualifying lap for a race that we're headed into. Eating a lot of that curb, making the jump. Probably could have opened up that jump a bit better. And then there's a long right-hander in the dirt here. This is where the most time is to be lost or gained throughout the entire track, and you can see that I'm actually avoiding touching these blue curbs on the inside. We'll cover the correct way to take that a little bit later on as we go through this race and learn from other people. Very, very tight right-hander here. I mean, it's basically a hairpin into the dirt. Another really important corner, one that you can lose a lot of time or gain a lot of time on, and that's basically the whole track. There's one more corner, but it's a straightforward corner on concrete or on asphalt. 42.3 as we fly over the jump and absolutely botch our second qualifying lap, missing that first apex, missing this second apex, and this lap was just absolutely cooked. So we are starting in P3 with our time from the first quali lap, and we are over a second behind this guy, car number 1, who put in the most ridiculous time I have ever seen, 41.1. I haven't seen anybody come anywhere close to that. So I knew that there was going to be some learning to do. We're starting on the outside for lap 1, outside of the front row. That is P3. That's where you start, and that's a big disadvantage going into this first corner. The car behind me getting a huge run right on my tail, and I'm side by side with the guy who started in P2, sending it extremely deep into the first corner, not only to try and get that position, but mostly just to stay safe and avoid any carnage that could have gone down from behind. Tucking behind P2 as we jump for the first time and heading into the long right-hander in the dirt, the main part of the course, I would say. And I'm going to fall off of him a slight bit here, as I'm just not used to how close you have to follow in rally. Like in Rallycross, you need to be on someone's ass through the dirt if you want to stay close to them once you guys straighten out and go onto the gravel. It's much different than road racing. And we're just about finished with our first lap here, dropping a decent amount of time to P2. P1 is absolutely gone, and we actually opened up a really big gap to the cars behind us. That's P4 and 5. Car number 2 in P5 looking to make a move into the final corner of the first lap, up the inside, done very nicely, clinical move, and that's going to put him behind us, albeit with about a second and a half, maybe more, between the two of us, and that gap is going to shrink as I am landing on the jump, and I just drive directly at this massive sausage curb. I actually get a slowdown for that as well, so I'm hesitating onto throttle, trying to get rid of the slowdown, and I think by this point it is gone because it doesn't really take very long to lose time in a Rallycross track. Towards the next corner, trying to make up what little time I can without an e-brake, might I say. I did not have an e-brake bound at this time. I'm driving with the Formula rim, and I don't have an e-brake. Later in the video, you will see the difference once I do bind it, but for this race, we don't have it, so we are strictly relying on Scandi flicking the car, and that was an absolutely horrible final corner for me, going way deep there, understeering, and we're going to lose some more time. The car behind us has closed up the gap by about 9/10 in the last lap alone. Much better run for us into the long right in the dirt, and it looks like we might actually be catching the car ahead. As we catch a grip on that inside curbing, you want to get your front right tires onto that curb and sometimes into the grass, as there's just a lot more grip there than in the dirt, and it helps you kind of fire out in a straight line and helps you kind of avoid exactly what I'm doing right there, where the car just continues to slide as I'm on throttle, losing time to the car ahead, and the car behind is now right on my tail. Instead of fighting with this guy, I am going to pull off into the Joker. If you don't watch Rally or know about Rallycross, there's a Joker lap. So in this case, it is a shorter version of the lap, and you have to take it at least once. It's an 8-lap race, so we took our Joker at the end of lap 3, which for the moment moves us up into P2, but P3 and 4 currently have not taken their Joker lap still. So I know that once they do that, they're going to catch up a lot of time, possibly even pass us. I think we gained about 2 seconds from the Joker that lap, so we need to get a gap between ourselves and P3 if we want to keep this position after they take their Joker laps. And I'm hoping that they will end up fighting and that could open up that gap even wider. And that's kind of why, if I'm going to take the Joker, it's usually to avoid a battle, because battling in Rallycross is almost always going to net negative. Even if you gain a position, if you lose like 2 seconds battling, you know, the guy behind you, he's been catching you that entire time, and then he's able to throw his Joker out and get past you. So I'm doing all that I can to just put in flying laps. I really do not want to have any bumper-to-bumper battling, but I'm completely going to miss the apex. Thankfully, they're not able to take advantage of that, as they're kind of battling themselves, and that's going to lose them just about the exact same amount of time. It's very, very difficult to remain on pace when you're this close to another car in Rallycross, unless both of you guys are like 10K I rating or just extremely fast. You know, I'm sure there are cases where it's just as fast, probably faster than my pace, but at the moment, I am just really praying that these guys fight it out and let me run away with P2. Car number 2 is definitely quick, and then the car in P2, I mean, he outqualified us for a reason, so regardless of how much fighting there is going to be behind us, it's not going to matter if I cannot get on pace, and man, did I have an abysmal run through the jump there. It probably doesn't look that slow from this angle, but if I play that back from the car behind, you'll see just how far he is as we go onto the jump, and I just totally mess up my weight transfer through the air, and he lands perfectly aiming at the next apex and closes up probably about 3/4 of a second there. So my chances of keeping this position are slim to none. I'm looking for a wreck from them. They both have a Joker still, and that's going to put them ahead of me. But into the hairpin, and the car in P4, smacking the back of P3, manages to keep it in a straight line, but does momentarily lose the car going sideways, so that will open the gap up once again. And I have this guy on my tail. I'm hoping that he takes the Joker this lap. Thankfully, he does. It's going to put him ahead of me, but at least it's going to open up some clean air behind and in front of me, so I'm not worried about somebody trying to make a move. Down into P3, Ryan behind is 2 seconds behind, so if I can keep this gap, it should be pretty close, and we might actually be able to keep P3. It's going to be tight, but I think if I string together just a couple of laps, we could bring this one home. Through the dirt, and already it's not looking great, drifting very wide. They're having to use the grass on the left side to catch a grip and avoid hitting that wall. Through the hairpin, trying to keep it as tight to the wall as I can, which was my game plan at this point. Really just trying to get the car straight on exit and to the asphalt as quickly as possible. The longer you're on dirt, the more time you're losing. The final lap is here, and Ryan behind us is 1.6 seconds. We need to open up that gap by a couple of tenths if we want to keep this position. Clipping that little blue curb on that first apex, avoiding both of the blue curbs, as was the current trajectory of my line that I was aiming for every lap. Whether that was correct or not, we will follow up in just a second. But through the hairpin, and we're going to go deep. That might have actually been the nail in the coffin for me, looking behind at the time, and he's gained about 2/10 through that corner. Nothing else we can do now but pray that he makes a mistake here. It's going to be tight either way. Just if he could have a slightly slower Joker, we might be able to still come out on top around the final corner for us, and he's just going to pull out of the Joker ahead of us, about 2/10 ahead of us. I think had we not messed up the hairpin, it would have been a toss-up still, but it would have been a lot closer. Looking at the results, finishing in P4, the guy in P1 was 9.8K in dirt road, driving a 41.1. The next fastest lap was a 42.4, and I mean, he was consistently doing 41.1s. Take a look at my times, and my best was a 42.8. Like, my Joker lap wasn't even as quick as his lap. So we're going to take a look at his qualifying and see what he's doing differently. Opening up that first corner to get a good run up to the line for the first time, clipping the inside again, tossing the car with angle already to the left, so the weight is going to push you around, devouring the first sausage curb on the right-hander, and that was, to me, the major difference in our laps. He's still trying to use that curb to get the car grip and get it moving in a straight line. So for the most part, I feel like I had that sector figured out, but I was avoiding those curbs at all cost. And watching him take that, I realized, okay, there's something there. He also uses an e-brake, I believe, slightly, like maybe not a full pressure e-brake, but I do believe he brakes through that hairpin, or e-brakes through that hairpin to get a really quick line. Now, I wanted to replicate his line through the double right in the dirt. So we're in qualifying right now for the next race, and trying to get the car, like trying to whip the car to the right, but it is not behaving. Going extremely deep through the first apex, and that is basically going to cook my first qualifying lap. You have two though, so this is my last chance to get a good time. And running up to the line, eating a bit of the inside, pushing with a lot more pace, trying to land on the outside with the car angled in, and turning a bit earlier to whip the car. There it is, hooking our tire on that first curb, hooking it on the second, in the dirt, on the curb, on exit as well. And you can kind of see the car grip up here as it just fires off into a straight line, and we absolutely destroyed our sector time with that. We didn't have a great run through the hairpin here, but that double right through the dirt just clicked with me. And honestly, it just made something in Rallycross overall click with me, which is that what's most important is finding the grip as early as possible. And you'll see that it's very different from track to track and corner to corner, as we'll move on after this race to a different track. But focus returning onto this race, crossing the line for a 41.9, which was 4/10 better than my previous best lap. So I was just amazed at the difference that made. We are way ahead of P2 by 7/10, which means we should be able to run away with this, but we still have to survive lap 1, and it is always a gamble in Rallycross. You never know who's going to bowling ball into the first corner. My goal is just to hold the inside, use my advantage, and we don't get a great launch. The cars behind us actually get a much better launch. They send it momentarily 5 wide, and that is going to lead to immediate mayhem. We're about 30 meters off of the line, and there's somebody sideways. Somebody has been in the air twice already. Car on the outside was in the dirt, looking for the most insane switchback I've ever seen in my life. Car number 1 is drifting around the outside of the track and catches grip as he lands back onto the asphalt and is actually going to end up settling into last place. We have a pretty big gap here already as everybody is going across the jump for the first time. The car in P4 is looking to make a move and make his way up to the podium immediately. This is kind of where you want to jockey for positions right off the bat, because past that point, like we said earlier, any fighting is going to have a much bigger difference relative to the people around you who may not be fighting. And Red Bull is off into the distance behind. Reversing it just so you can see that he ripped his e-brake while facing the wrong direction, and that's what that does to you, so just be aware of that. I couldn't do that because I didn't have an e-brake at the moment, but that's going to change. For right now, huge gap, and if you're in the lead 99% of the time, take the Joker on lap 1, because otherwise someone could jump you through it and hold you back. And if you look behind us, 2 people did take the Joker, and if we back it up a little bit, you'll actually see that P4 going into the Joker jumps P3 and actually overtakes him inside of the Joker lap, moving himself up into P2 and car number 5 down to P3. And this is what I'm talking about with the fighting. Like, they just used their Joker and now they're making contact before they get to the jump on lap 2. Props to this guy for not flipping his car and actually keeping the position, but you can see that the car who was in P2 previously, he's in P4 right now, is right on the tail of car number 5 as he caught right back up to him. He didn't take the Joker, and he's still right with them because they wasted so much time fighting, and it's going to continue as car number 5 looking up the inside of the hairpin. And I get it, at some point, like, you just have to make these moves if you think the car is slower than you ahead. It's unfortunate, but just in general for Rallycross, like, get the moves done quick and be assertive with them, and other than that, you just avoid fighting. And you can see the guy behind going into the Joker as these two are continuing to fight, and they probably lost like a net second to the car ahead over the last lap from all of the fighting, finally backing off as they start onto lap number 3, and it's now the battle for P3. But to make it even more interesting, a lot of the cars behind haven't taken their Joker yet, so it seems like these guys are in a good position, but the cars behind are right on their tail, and once they take the Joker, they're probably going to end up jumping both of these guys. We are solidly in the lead. We ran a 43.1 for our first lap, which isn't great, but we have a 4-second gap, and the 2 cars behind us have both taken their Jokers, so we are in absolutely no danger of somebody jumping us, and my whole focus was just I was basically practicing the lines that I learned previously. P2 perhaps getting on the e-brake through the final corner, not quite sure. He's going to slide, and the car who was in P5 is going through the Joker, moving up to P3, jumping the 2 guys who have been fighting each other behind, and I mean, that is his final position as of right now. Like, these guys behind don't have a Joker, so they're going to have to fight tooth and nail to make up these positions, and I think they realized at this point, or you would think that they realize that it's not worth fighting for, especially this car at the back. Like, let the guys try and jockey for position ahead. This guy's dead. That's the guy who spun off to the left earlier. I don't know what happened to him. I tried to look for it, and I couldn't. It's just his car blew up, I guess. Back on board with P5 here, as P4 has fallen off of P3, so I think that P5 decided, I'll settle back and see if this guy could find pace, and it didn't happen. So now with only this lap and 2 more left to go, he realizes that he is, the best position he's getting here is P4, so he's going to have to fight for that position. And I know you guys are probably like, why aren't you showing your own view? Why are you showing these guys' view? But I think that this was just a really good highlight of, I don't want to say how bad it is to fight in Rallycross, but how important it is to be smart about the battles you pick and if you can avoid a battle in Rallycross via strategy, to do that. He's sending it up the inside of the final corner, taking the curb, and a beautifully executed switchback from car number 5 to maintain P4. So car 5 in P4 and car 4 in P5 behind him as we head on to the penultimate lap. And you can actually see P6 behind has caught these guys, which is the end position. Its last position at the moment is P6. For our final lap, we are coming across the final corner of the race in a very dominant P1. Really happy with my performance on this one. I don't think I had any incidents anywhere. And a last-ditch effort from way downtown looking for P4, and he's just going to drive straight into what would have been the back had he not hit that sausage. And it is a poetic end for car number 4 as he gets passed and put into last position on the final corner after many dive bombs and attempts at very aggressive moves. So shout out to car number 7 for driving that one out, and it paid off for him. Here are the results. P1, really happy with my performance there. Went green in both areas and felt good on pace, but I knew that there was more to Rallycross, specifically the e-brake. I needed to learn how to use it, and I feel like this track just didn't emphasize that enough, so I moved to a different track instead. And oh boy.
It's a whole grind, gave myself the credit, bought it to me with no cosign. I don't need a loan, I'm on 10, I'm my own dime. Y'all got no control, to take this out away a whole lifestyle. In the mud to my neck, I love a spy day. I still lift the world's weight, shoulder showing all game, still on one.
I mean, come on. it is so much fun. This is Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is their rally course, and I'm going to take you through a lap real quick. Throwing it in with the e-brake into the first corner. You really don't want to have to engage the e-brake again, but you can if you lose a bit of speed and have to, force some more rotation. But really, I think it's optimal to just have one pull of the e-brake in that first corner. Second, dirt sector, and flinging it in. Once again, you want to get close to this wall on the inside if possible. Catch grip. There's more grip on the outside definitely here. Slinging it in early and down to third gear as you try and get the car straightened out and catch grip to get the car moving forward for this very long run. And you'll see that I'm pretty much in the middle of the dirt here, but there is a curb on the outside near that grass. So if you can get your left tire over there, it's much quicker, and you'll see me kind of figure that out as we go through a race, which I am going to take you through a race on this track. Final corner is on the tarmac, and you're absolutely cooking your tires here, and then the lap starts again. And that was a 45 flat, which is a respectable time, but 44s are really where you want to be like top tier competitive, I believe, maybe even a high 43. So we're still off of it, and our qualifying for this race did not go well. Into the wall on that second dirt, that long left-hander. So we're starting in the middle of the back row with no time, and I think we could have put it on pole had we connected a lap, but that is okay. It's a different experience from the back, but it's one that's important to learn, and that is basically just not die. Heading into turn 1, and there's beetles all over the place. I got away, I think, with a pretty average start there. They're 3 wide up ahead of me, possibly 4 wide, as this guy looks to make a move, ends up kind of shunting somebody into someone else, and we are able to drive out of there ahead of 4 cars, so gaining quite a lot of positions. That guy getting blocked in, and we're up to P4 now, behind, who is this, Pedro Vasquez, right behind him, kind of in a little bit of a tandem as we go through the first corner for the first time, trying to push into what looked like it might have been space, but backing out upon realizing that it was definitely going to close on me, and settling into P4 for the moment, maybe using a joker to get an overtake. I didn't want to fight too much, and I wouldn't have to, because Pedro is going to go flying into the wall and spinning around backwards. He ends up getting his car facing the right way, but that is a free P3 for us. P1 and 2 are fairly close to each other as well, so I'm really hoping that they can start fighting. I felt really strong about my pace. Like, I was excited to chase these guys down, and this race was just, I mean, maybe it's not peak Rallycross, but for me it was. Like, I have driven so much Porsche Cup, and it is very refreshing to have such a different type of race, very close to the wall there as we sent it in way too hot, having to straighten out the car before the second apex of that corner, and that's really not what you want to do. You want to have one continuous corner, so I'm gonna have to clean that up if I want to stay on these guys. P1 is already kind of running away with it, 3 seconds up the road now. I believe he's gained probably about half of a second, maybe a full second this lap alone, and going a bit deep into this corner as well. It was just, it's hard to be super consistent in Rallycross. But you will see me actually nail that line on this lap. As you can see, my car going deep, catching grip on that outside curb, and then it just fires off in a straight line, and you gain so much speed on exit, gaining a couple of tenths to the leader there. And if I could do that every lap, which I'll level with you, I probably can't. I know for a fact that I can't. I couldn't even get turn 1 right. Lap number 3 starting off basically the same way as the previous lap, having to straighten out the car and use the e-brake again for that second corner, which I've said many times you don't want to do. But for whatever reason, I just could not find my perfect lap. I couldn't put all of my practice to work. I kept on using the e-brake a little bit too late, not whipping it hard enough, totally missing the apex on this corner as well. But at the end of the day, a really big part of rally is strategy, and I knew that that would come into play. Everybody is spaced out here, but it won't be like that forever, as the car in P1 taking the Joker, which is off to the left here before the final set of corners, and then as we come across the line, it rejoins, and he is going to get absolutely screwed by me as we come out side by side into lap 4, and I'm going to full ship it into the lead. Probably over braking for this corner, but I was not allowing a switch back. He's hitting me from behind, he's hitting me into the wall, but I think that that's also just kind of like the etiquette in Rallycross. You can make a lot more contact, and it's not as damaging to anybody's race as it would be in basically any type of circuit or road racing. Now up into P2 for the time being, and it looks like P1 has gone very deep through this corner. He did get the car straightened out nicely, but I would like to say that we had a better run through that corner, trying once again to get our tire out to the left and struggling a bit. We eventually get it onto the curb, and it gets us pointed in the right direction, but I'm going to opt to take the Joker right now because I know the guy behind me was fast. He was able to pull a gap when he was in the lead, so I don't want him to end up trying to make a move on me. I would rather just take my Joker, run some laps. I was going to have to take the Joker at some point anyway, and see if maybe they can end up fighting ahead and I can jump a position that way. 3.6 seconds to P1 as I come out of the Joker onto lap 5. We've got this lap and 4 more, so halfway through the race, and P1 hasn't taken his Joker. As you can tell, on this track, the Joker is actually longer than the normal lap by about 2 seconds, and the gap of 3 seconds is closing down a bit as he goes through the left-hander there and through that right-hander. It's going to even out a bit, as I think, maybe part of his line just compromises time in that first corner, and then he gains it back on that second one. That's what it seemed like. But more important than him maintaining that gap is the fact that P2 Moro Segura has caught him by almost a full second that lap. So my plan of P2 catching P1 and battling is looking like it may end up panning out, which is exactly why I wanted to take that Joker lap. I did not want to be the one under pressure from Moro. I would rather have the leader be under pressure and maybe he falls back and we're able to jump him as he has to take that Joker at some point, slinging it in and getting a really, really solid line on this lap through the long left-hander, gaining a lot of time actually to the leader, and hopefully we can keep that time through here, slinging our car out, trying to get the rear tires onto that curbing and onto the dirt, and we managed to do so. 2 laps left to go, and it looks like they're going to end up battling at the perfect time, just about on each other's tails, 2 tenths between them as they're damn near tandem drifting into the first corner, and I'm still struggling to get the speed and the angle that I really need through that first corner, but it doesn't really matter. We're already gaining time as the car in the lead was probably taking a bit of a conservative line there to try and defend his lead, and I'm not sure that that is a smart thing to do. At this point, you have to take the Joker. Would it not be smarter for him to just let the guy through? Or I guess maybe if he's trying to take the Joker right now, then he just needs to keep that gap up. Bit of a struggle for us to get that car pointed where we wanted to, and losing about 3 or 4 tenths there, which might be crucial in the final result of this race, as it went from the gap being under 2 seconds to the leader to now being just under 2.5 and into the first corner of the final lap. And again, I am struggling to keep the speed up. I think I almost hitting the wall here, having to use the e-brake again, but just really, really struggling with that first corner. Fortunately, it looks like the leader was as well, as he's actually dropped a bit of time. If we can have a good run through here, he has consistently been dropping time to us here, and I need a good run, and it looks like P2 is making a move onto P1. They're just about side by side. Maybe a switchback coming for P2 as he looks to take the lead through the penultimate corner or penultimate set of corners as we head into what is going to have to be a joker for P1 as he pulls to the left side, and P1 now goes to Morrow. It's up to us for P2. I mean, P1 is done for us, but as we come across the final corner, the gap between myself and P3 is massive. Oh my God. I think I was a bit too worried about that gap. Finishing in P2, running into the wall, and then P3 is going to hit a sexy drift behind us as he parks his car on the second apex of that first corner. And what a race. Like, it's so hard to describe, like, the emotions of Rallycross. I don't know why, but I feel like you're pushing the car so much harder. It is hard to gain safety rating in Rallycross. I will say that. There's not many corners. If you guys enjoyed this and want to support me, click the link in the description for a playlist that has some bangers on it or the video on your screen now and subscribe.